last time some stuff happened.
He looks at Vern and says, if I recall correctly about him wanting to find some library, he couldn't have gone far.
Alright, I'll look for him.
Okay, Fiery, with you, Archives is in the library. You're looking through maps. While you're unraveling one, which seems to be a map of the entire area, you notice something fall out of the map onto the table. It's a crystal. Huzzah, you have found an egg-shaped crystal.
I walk into the library and I'm just looking around for this man.
You decide to yell out Marco in the library.
I yell back, dumbass.
I just walk up to Gemblood. I notice that he has this shiny ass crystal in his hand. I just ask, where'd you find that?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I just take a look at this jewel and I just look up, squinting at him, just saying, I may not know the kind, but that isn't used in jewelry. I've robbed multiple people.
Yeah, I walk to the orc blacksmith and I ask, excuse me, brother, but could you show me as to where the leader resides in?
I don't really know where exactly it is, because I don't go to that district very often. Especially since most of the people there, aside from the leader, of course, and their mother, are pretty, pompous pricks, you'd say. But I would ask one of the guards, preferably one that saw you come in with the young master.
I walk up to the said guard. He tried to calmly approach the guard, asking, I know you must be on your duty, but I request direction as to where the leader of this town resides in.
The guard looks at Grim, and he recognizes him, because he was one of the guards that was nearby when he came in with Fokesh. He said, I can take you straight to the residence if you'd like.
The orc would nod, as he'd say, as long as it's not a bother, sir.
He walks you to the mansion. He walks up to the front doors, and he grabs a hold of the ornate knocker on the door. After a few minutes, the door opens, and a butler looks at both of you with just like a, what the heck are you doing here face? And then he just regains his composure and just like, can I help you?
Presence of the leader of the village.
He's like about to close the door when, lo and behold, Fokesh comes down the stairs and notices him. He calls the butler and he's like, he didn't tell me Grimwold was here. And he walks over. He looks at Grim. It's like, how can I help you?
There's a girl in the Adventurers Guild, and the way she's been treated, I do not support it.
Fokesh just nods. Of course. Come inside. Unfortunately, my mother is away at the moment, but if you'd like, we can talk more about it, and I can make sure she gets the message.
And it infuriated him to see how even a child is put into such a disgusting situation.
Slave labor.
But I believe I know the child you're speaking of. Did she have short red hair?
He'd explain roughly, messy red hair, bob haircut.
Yes, I know the child you speak of. Unfortunately, her parents were some of the people who went missing, and in order to survive, she's been needing to work at the Adventurers Guild. Though, I'm glad to say that the situation that happened today with the Goblin Head doesn't really happen very often. Though, I will make sure to have a talk with my mother.
Me looking after her.
Well, it's entirely possible for you to, I'd say, adopt her in this sense. Though, if her parents were to be found someday, you would need to take her back.
I would make it my goal to make sure that she is brought back to her parents safely.
I'm sure I can get the paperwork filled out. I'll make sure you can safely adopt her. But you will need to get her consent first.
I will go back to the Adventurers Guild, and I shall ask her if she would like me to look after her.
You should probably wait until tomorrow, though. It's late, and I'm sure she'll be in bed by now.
I'll be staying on guard outside the place where both Gemblood and Vern shall rest. Grimwood would then walk back to the main district. Just gonna try yelling human dart just to see if he could like get a response from Gemblood.
So I'm gonna say this to Gemblood. We should split up, you know. I know that there's, you know, no. We should just stay close. Never mind. Just scratch that. Scratch that. I'm not good at planning. Shut the fuck up. I just yell that as as just out of anger for himself.
He's like, I haven't even said anything yet.
Grim, you hear the yelling of Vern, and you know where they are now.
He just suddenly places his hand on Vern's shoulder. For two humans, you are surprisingly loud.
I turn around in panic. I'm like, Jesus, dude. Well, I'm thinking we should just stay at the inn tonight then, if you're just gonna stand guard.
Understood.
You see across from the Adventurers Guild is a big sign that says the Horsetail Inn. You guys go into the inn. Vern and Archives. As soon as you go into the inn, you notice a very interesting tiefling bard, who is male by the way, playing his lute by the fire, and sitting next to him is a beautiful blonde elf that actually has a blindfold around her eyes.
Last time I saw a girl that pretty, she tried to kick me off the fucking ledge. Anyways, like now we finally walk up to the bartender.
Bartender is a human woman, and she smiles at you and she's like, how can I help you?
I tell her, can we please get a room, preferably one that I can make him shut the fuck up in.
She nods and she's like, well, about the room, I can definitely get you one. Like separate rooms, or are you two like...
If he wants me to shut up, yeah, then yeah, separate rooms.
The innkeeper looks at you both and says like, okay, that's 2 gold for 1 room. So that would be 2 gold each. She hands each of
Alright.
you a separate key.
I tell her thank you, and then I look over at Vern. I'm just like, you better not be muttering any creepy shit in your sleep.
You guys go up to your rooms, and after a few minutes, you hear the music downstairs stop, and 2 pairs of footsteps outside in the hallway as doors open and close, meaning the 2 that were down there probably went to bed for the night. As you guys are settling down for the night, Archives, you see outside your window a faint blue glow that seems to be fluttering around in the air outside of the window. Grim,
Hey.
as you're staring at it, it comes closer and you notice that it seems to take shape of a butterfly. The butterfly gracefully lands on Grim's finger, and the longer it lingers on your finger, you start to hear voices.
He'd slowly move the butterfly closer to his ear.
The closer the butterfly gets to your ear, the louder the voices get. The voices change from time to time. They're all saying
Wow.
roughly the same thing, and they're crying out for help. The butterfly flies off of his hand and kind of flutters in the direction of another street that was in the opposite direction of the inn.
Me chasing him, chasing the butterfly.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm just cautiously following the butterfly.
The butterfly leads you into a alley. It is lit.
He'd slowly walk in the alleyway.
You notice the butterfly begins to... It starts to slowly fade away, and right before it completely fades away, it landed on a door.
Is there a window?
Yes, there is a window. It is a shop of some sort. The door creaks when you walk in.
And by this time, have I reached the area where he's at?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stand in the doorway with the stealth thing to just be like waiting to see if he's...
Alright, go ahead and make a stealth check. When you walk in, you trip over a coat hanger, and you make a huge racket.
Whoops.
You hear someone just go, "What the hell?" from upstairs. You see a light shine down the stairs.
You need to work on sneaking up on people. Just stand behind me. I'll handle this.
You hear footsteps coming down the stairs. A person in bright blue pajamas just looks over at you guys. He's like, "What the hell? What
You
are
would
you doing in
explain-
my shop? I will send you to Jesus."
I was sent by a messenger butterfly.
The man looks confused as heck. He's like, "Butterfly? What? I don't know what you're talking about, but
I show him 4 gold coins. I feel like there is something hidden here. Would this be enough to do a thorough search?
The man takes the gold. Try not to break anything. Grim, while he's looking around, just kind of like does that whole thing that some people do where he just like doesn't really look very thoroughly. In Archives, while you're looking around, you notice a bracelet. It has the same turquoise blue gem embedded in it.
The gold that I gave you for the inspection, could I use that as payment for the bracelet?
Oh, why not?
he would walk back to the inn and he would say to Gemblood, "Rest well, warrior. I feel like we have a long day ahead of us tomorrow."
Archives, you notice that the innkeeper behind the counter is not very amused with you being out late. She looks a little bit like a flippin' mother who caught their kid doing drugs. And she's like, are you done going out so I can end my shift?
Yeah.
Thank you. She goes upstairs to one of the rooms, and you just hear a door open and close. I want to see, Archives, do you go up, like, close behind her?
No, that's weird.
Okay, well, do you at least have her in your sights?
I guess, yeah. Like, far enough that I'm not...
Okay, you notice she goes into the bard's bedroom? That's the real reason she was irritated. She was like, I just want to flip and get laid.
Meanwhile, I just put the bracelet in my satchel, whatnot.
It's the next morning. And Grim, thankfully, only got a few strange looks last night by patrolling guards.
I just walk out, look to my left, look to my right, and I just,
You see the bard come out of the room with, like, a flippin' nailed it face, kind of.
Alright, guess it's time for me to move. As he would head to the Adventurers Guild.
So I guess I just walk around, just trying to understand, like, how this town works. I do graze past the blacksmith. I walk up to him and I ask him, "Hey, you're an orc. One of my pals was standing in front of the inn. Do you know where he's going?"
Oh, looked like he was on his way to the Adventurers Guild.
"Hey, do you have any better shields for sale?
The-
The only shield I got is this shitty wooden one that's broken."
The blacksmith just looks at you and is like, well, can I see the shield?
I just show him the shield.
I could probably fix this up, actually. He's like, alright, come back tomorrow.
So I get to the Adventurers Guild, I open the door. First thing I want to do is see if the little girl is there.
You see the little girl, she is taking food to different tables.
Yeah, so I walk to the counter and I ask, "Do you know if there's an elf here who knows of cursed items?"
The man behind the counter is like, I know the elf you're talking about.
So I enter the door. I notice Grim. I just walk up to him and tap him on the shoulder.
Well, you're better at stealth than Gemblood, I'll give you that. Last night, Gemblood and I found a cursed item. We might think it's cursed, so that's why I'm here to find out if it's cursed or not. He'd look at the guild member as he says, "About the elf, do you know where he is?"
Yes, I'll go fetch him right now. You hear footsteps, like small footsteps, come over to you, and Grim, you feel something gently tug on your pant leg. You see the little girl from before smiling at you, and she holds out a flower.
He'd turn towards her and he'd get on one knee to get to the right level, as he'd give her like a most gentle head pat. "What's your name, little one?"
She smiles and looks at you, and she says, "My name is Alice."
"Yesterday I talked to Falkesh to try and get to know you. I heard about what happened to your parents, and I want to help you. So I was asking if I could be your caretaker. That is, if you wish for that."
She just looks at him and she's like, "That's okay with you. I don't want to be, I don't want to be a burden or anything."
The only thing that is important to me right now is to make sure that you are reunited with your family.
She gives you a big hug. The guild member's been standing there for a few minutes
Oh.
with an elf.
He then tosses the bracelet onto the counter.
The elf picks the bracelet up. You see his eyes cloud over slightly. The elf is just kind of like in a quote unquote trance, and they just stand there for a few minutes before they snap out of it. And he's like, "This bracelet has seen many deaths.
You know something of a blue butterfly, I take it?
Usually on the nights that people see a blue butterfly, those are the nights that people go missing."
Would you happen to know of the direction of where these butterflies would come from?
It's not completely known, but I did hear something about an old couple outside of the town babbling on about seeing something weird. A lot of the people in the village don't actually believe in them.
You didn't answer my question about if this object was cursed or not.
It's not a curse per se. It takes away the user's ability to talk.
For a test, I put it on. I try to yell as loud as I can. So as I try to yell, there's literally nothing coming out of my mouth, right?
Yeah.
And then as soon as I take the bracelet off, I'm like, what an experience. So I quickly bolt off.
He walks over to the gates to the noble district, I guess.
Yes.
He'd approach the gate as he looks at the guard and would ask to see Falkesh.
The guard nodded and opened the gates.
He'd hold Alice's hand gently as he walks over to the big mansion as he knocks on the door.
The butler from before opens the door and he looks at Grim and he just goes, "Ah, yes, I'll fetch the young master right now. You're welcome to wait in the same room that you were in last time."
Stay close to me, little one.
She nodded and she's like, "Okay."
He'd walk in the mansion with her.
She looks around the entire room and just kind of like runs around it, making sure to stay in the room so she would stay in Grim's sight. After a few minutes, you hear the door open and Fokesh walks in, immediately noticing the child, and he kind of just smiles.
I think you already know why I'm here.
I'm guessing to talk about the child.
Do I have to sign anything in blood or...
No, you don't have. We just need a signature. That's all. He hands you papers.
Writes down Grim.
The pages glow slightly, and he hands them back. I just cast a small enchantment. They're waterproof and fireproof now. Like, destroyed or anything.
I fare thee well as we must depart.
So I bolt into the inn.
Well, the elf is there sitting next to the innkeeper, who seems to be on break at the moment, and they're just talking to each other.
I just go upstairs ignoring them. So I go upstairs to where Fiery's room is, and I just knock on the door yelling, "Hey!"
I guess I opened the door. Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck do you want?
You know that bracelet you found last night? Two things. One, apparently it's seen dead people. Second of all, I put on the bracelet and then I show them what it does. I try to yell as loud as I can, but nothing.
Alright, you don't have to breathe on me aggressively.
We have to meet Gordon World at the gate.
I guess I'll
I'm
be
trying to
getting
find
ready.
food.
You just go get ready. I won't bother you. Just meet me down below. Walk downstairs and I just wait by the exit.
I mean, I guess I come out a few minutes later and being like,
Oh,
alright.
so yeah, Grimold Alice returns to the entrance and exit of the town, waiting for both Vern and Archive.
I think this would be a good place to stop for the night.